Welcome to Connecting Greeks, a streaming comedy show and podcast designed to explore and enhance Greek culture around the world. Join hosts Angelo, Adi, and Foti as they bring you fun and interesting guests from all walks of Greek life. Grab a kafedaki and join us.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Connecting Greeks podcast. It's been a little while, but we are back with an amazing episode and an amazing guest. Before we get to her, I want to bring on my co-host, Foti Stamos. What's going on, Foti?
Hey, Ari, how's it going, brother?
It's going very well. Excited that we're all back together. It feels like the team is here and in prime form and with an amazing guest. So why don't you bring on, first of all, the man of the hour, the guy we've been waiting for. Who am I talking about?
Mr. Angelo Tsaroukis. Angelo, in the
hello. Yes, hello, Foti and Ari. Coming to you from a cruise ship in the Caribbean because I clearly don't have a house. I have an Airbnb I lease from my wife. So that's what we're doing there right now. And good to see you guys.
It's good to
see you guys again. And we have a very interesting guest. And I know she's originally from the Boston area. Mm-hmm. And entrepreneur, investor, consultant, board member, amongst a lot of other things, amazing things. Welcome to the Connecting Greeks, Irina Kapetanakis. Hi, Irina. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, guys. I'm so excited to be here.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
So, full disclosure, I know Irina from Tufts days? Is that when I first met you?
Yeah, when I was a freshman.
Tufts University. I knew you would go on to big things. Everybody that I was friends with at Tufts has gone on to great things. So I'm glad to hear you're amongst them.
You might be the lucky charm, Ari. Maybe.
Yeah, that's the connection between all the success with me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's awesome.
So Irina, let's before we get into all the stuff that you're doing. You want to give us just like a little bit about your history, where you grew up, about your upbringing and what led you down the path that you're on today?
Of course. So I grew up in Medford, Massachusetts. Both my parents are Greek. My dad's from Thessaloniki. My mom's family's from Mytilene. Grew up going to Greece in the summers, as a lot of us have. So very, very tied to my Greek roots, both through kind of like, how I was raised, but also now by choice, because I think that as you get older, you reach a point where you make that decision, right? I stayed, as you mentioned, I stayed in Boston for college. And then I started working in financial services. Even though I graduated as an electrical engineer, I had a lot of issues with kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. So I was electrical engineer undergrad, did that for a little bit, and it was not for me. So I moved into finance. And I spent 18 years in financial services and sales and marketing roles, both in Boston and then eventually moving to like New York, New Jersey area, and continued that there. So, from there, I just had like kind of my aha moment where I was like, all right, is this kind of what my life's going to be like as I get older and head towards retirement? Or am I going to do something that's really exciting to me and that I feel more passionate about? And so that's kind of where my career path really just veered into so many different directions, which we can talk more about too.
Wow. That's great. Now, Irina, I wanted to ask you, in lieu of what's been going on lately as a consultant, and, people like yourselves are very key in the industry, especially finances. With lately, do you find there's been a demand now? UBS just purchased Credit Suisse. The banks, I know in Canada and Europe and America, there's a little bit of unrest. As a consultant, or even like for us, like regular punters, like people are, there's a little concern in the market. Do you find yourself in more demand at this time now? Like, will people reach out to you now and say, look, there's situations going on and we need your expertise? What would you recommend? Like, what do you think's not accurate, but what do you think is going on in the markets right now a little bit with all that stuff?
So, I mean, it's been going on for a number of years now where really only the strong are going to survive. I mean, you've seen Bank of America and Merrill Lynch started this whole consolidation process, Smith Barney and Morgan Stanley. I mean, these are years back. So that kind of like the strong will survive has been the mentality for the last like 10 years, I think.
Right.
So UBS getting creditors, we're just going to see a lot of consolidation. We're going to see a lot of instability in the market, but I think that that's also the norm. I don't think that we go through periods where it's going great and periods where it's not. And I think that's the market. We just have to be okay with it and just really identify when we look at what we're going to do with our money. What's our time frame? What are we looking to do with this money? How risky?
Right.
Are we? Like if you get that information up front, then you know how to invest so that you're not put in a situation where you're like in some high risk type of product and you need the money in like a year. You just don't want to be in that situation. So it's really about, kind of really uncovering what the needs are, timeline and all that.
Right. Because it's something interesting happened. I went to rent a car at Dollar. So there's Dollar and there's Thrifty. And then I went there and then they sent me over to Hertz at the airport. And I go, oh, why am I going to Hertz? Oh, we all got bought out by Hertz now. Hertz amalgamated. So you're seeing a lot of these mergers, which I think you're correct. I think it's right that it's good to have that merging. The other concern sometimes will there be like the airlines is there enough competition after, right, for the market? So I think we're always trying to find the balance, and everything, because it's like the guy who owns a small souvlaki shop in Boston, and then you have a chain of them or whatever. I mean, what is it? But then it's funny. People want progress. And then when things get too big, do you remember what was that little souvlaki shop called Spiro's? Oh, that was really good. Don't you find we were like that? Like
we're never happy with what we have.
No.
I always see that climate keeps changing. And to your point, like looking back on the work ethic of those independent owned shops that were thriving because all about the ownership being involved hands-on. I don't know if that's ever going to come back to that level, like you just mentioned. So when these entities that come in and they put out concepts and, change and so forth, will we ever get those experiences? Who knows?
Well, I've noticed two things have happened since COVID, and this is just a generalization, is I think people have become less intelligent. These kids can't give out change. I'll give an example. I was at a McDonald's. It was $17.03. I gave the kid $20.03. He gave me back $83. And I said, you gave me too much. No, it's 83. I go, no, it was supposed to give me $3. Then the manager came over. Okay, the other tuvlo, he came over. He looked over and I said, look, the guy, he goes, no, it looks good to me. So I took the money.
Yeah.
But
which McDonald's was this? I want to go there.
I was somewhere. But I see, Irina, what have you noticed since COVID, there seems to have been a little reset in the sense that there's still companies looking for employees. There's a lot of, you go to places, they tell you, don't yell at our staff. Do you find, is it just a coincidence or is it because of what we went through?
I don't know if it's necessarily, I think COVID maybe brought it to light, but I think there's definitely a shift in the way the younger generation views work, views kind of their career, views their worth. And I think we live in a generation where everything happens so fast. They're used to getting information fast. They're used to communicating fast. They're used to everything happening fast.
Instant gratification.
Exactly. And so when you start a new job, 2 months down the line, they're like, all right, so when's my promotion? Why am I getting paid more? And it's like very entitled to some people that are like old school, like we grew up super old school where it was like, all right, you work hard, you hope you get noticed, you try as hard as you can so that you keep impressing your managers and your boss, but you're not kind of promised anything. It can happen if you really like show that you're worth it, but not guaranteed. In their mind, it's like fast and it's guaranteed. Like I did one thing or I did something for a short period of time. Well, that's enough time. Like, how is that not enough time? And so I think there's definitely like that whole thing that you said, Foti, about like, will we ever get back to that work ethic of like the immigrant that has a souvlaki, so that works it himself and works from morning until night and doesn't see his family because he's like providing for them and all that. I'll be honest, I don't think we will see that again.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's just a very, very different mentality, and people are just expecting, and people are going into these jobs with a very high expectation of what they want to make too. So I think that it's like, very delicate balance, but we're in a very different world.
For sure.
Well, I think Ari said it right. It's the gratification. Even in any industry, you're right. In entertainment or anything you do with TikTok and Instagram, we're able to, right now, we can have this conversation and Ari can take it, put it up on a platform, and within minutes, the whole planet has access to look at what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Where in the old days, you had newspapers, or you wrote a letter to Yaya and Mitilini, because that's where my mom's from too, Mitilini. And you wrote a letter, "Dear Yaya, things are good in America." And then you sent it and you waited for the response. And now, like within seconds, we could do it. But I think I'm still a bit in the old school.
Yeah.
I think we all kind of grew up a little bit attached to the old school. But Irina, you made a good point. I think things have changed, and we have to learn how to adapt with it.
Well, you know what I always say, and Irina, you tell me if you agree, but Foti and I used to do like a social network way back in the day. So before that really took off, you would go to like a Greek night and you would see like a girl or a boy that you thought was cute or that you liked. And then you'd go home and you'd think about it and you'd be like, all right, I have to go back out. I have to, see them again. And this could be a process. Or you go to a Greek night and you hear a song. You're like, oh my God, that's such a good song. The only place you could ever get to hear that song is going back to another Greek night, hoping they play it or telling the DJ to play it. You could not have access to people, music, any of this stuff. You have to wait for it and like work for it. And now it's like, you see a girl you like, boom, you just find her socials and DM. Music that you like, oh my God, 2 seconds on YouTube, you get the song. It's like, it's weird to think. And I mean, in your experience.
Oh, it is. And it's interesting because is one of my new ventures, which is Rumble, which is a boxing gym. I employ a lot of people that are in that younger generation. So I find it's very much like the mom of the group. And I see it firsthand, and it's like, it's interesting to me. Like, we did an event one night and we went out, and one of the girls took out, this was crazy to me. She took out her dating app and she was able to create like a zone of like 0.1 miles or something.
Yeah.
Who was in the bar at that time that was on the dating app so that she could do her research prior to talking to them physically in person. So like, you're at a bar and instead of just saying, he's cute, I'll go talk to him, it's like, all right, well, let me find out everything on my phone, whatever I can. And they're doing all this like literally like 007 stuff that I was blown away by, because I'm like, this is way too intense. Let me just ask him, and like, I don't know, it could be like a way to start a conversation, but that's just kind of the way that they're doing things.
It's the evolution that we as old, I don't want to say old, but like older generation, eventually I'm going to be the guy going, these kids don't know. These kids. I'm going to be that guy. I know it, and it's sad, but I already see it happening, especially because we're in a very unique time where, 100 years ago, each generation didn't have a huge jump. But us now, this generation to the next generation,
progression,
massive jump that we're not even understanding at this point.
Yeah, I think social media has revolutionized the difference in generations. Like, I mean, it's like so beyond.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. But Irina, sorry, Fatih, go ahead.
You go. Irina.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna ask Irina. You were discussing your tenure over in financial services, and then there was one day that you can share with us. What was that moment that you decided that you were going to actually venture, explore, and invest or be part of some really good ideas?
Yeah. so I kind of decided to take a different approach to how I was going to look at my life and my career, and, you know, kind of being in a corporate job for the rest of my life just wasn't me at that point. I was like, I need to do something different. So I started networking a ton, and I can't say enough good things about networking, even with people you don't think are going to be your connectors or your next step, because everyone you talk to adds value to you in some way, shape, or form. And, you know, keeping in touch with that network is super important. So I started networking, talking to people in different industries, very, very random things. It's very different from what I knew, because I felt like 18 years in an industry, you're very much stuck in a bubble because you only know people in that industry. You're very much focused on that. So anything outside of that was very different to me. And that's kind of when I started my foray into kind of angel investing and investing in other businesses, and really pivoting my career from working in finance to being an investor, and then kind of just taking some great ideas, investing in them or managing them myself. So I invested in a company called Suchi Inc., which was a company that was creating fashion, clothing for different brands, but also has like a tech aspect to it in terms of how to digitize the entire supply chain. I invested in Clios Mestiza Spirit, which is an amazing alcohol brand founded by one of my very dear friends, Effie Panagopoulos. And Mamagen is another company that's revolutionizing how we detect breast cancer, early detection, but with a saliva test, you basically can tell with 99%.
Amazing.
If you have breast cancer. So it saves like people from going through biopsies and misdiagnosed mammograms and all this wonderful stuff. So the theme for me was definitely women-owned businesses in most instances, or women-run businesses. I definitely feel like as a woman, I want to support other women, Greek or non-Greek. Like, I just feel like if an idea is great and it resonates with me, that's kind of the thesis behind how I invest. And then obviously my newest venture is investing in a gym called Rumble Boxing, which I'm opening up 3 in northern Jersey, Hoboken, Jersey City, in the Weehawken area. So it's all kind of like right near New York City. And it was just another idea that kind of came about because of the need for those areas to really feel even more connected to New York City. If you know those areas at all, it's basically an extension of New York. So everything that happens in New York, we know it first in Jersey. And, you know, having it in your backyard just makes you feel even more part of like that New York City connection. So that's really what I've been extremely focused on the last couple of months, because we just opened our first location.
Congratulations.
That's awesome. Congrats. I'm really impressed with the Mamagen. When I read your bio, the idea that you get through a saliva test can save a lot of people's lives. And I mean, it's amazing. And is it, when somebody pitches something like that to you, or you get involved in something like that, how important is it today to have the tech aspect of, like you said it with the clothing line? Because basically everything now is either online, Bluetooth, or has to be connected somehow. Do you find that helps a lot? If someone's trying to pitch an idea to you, does it have to make sense in the sense that, okay, this is good. Now, how do we let people know about this product or about this service?
Yeah, that's going to play a role, whether it's technology from a software perspective or just the use of technology in your marketing and sales approach. I mean, you're not going to see. So, I mean, whether it's a physical product like Clios, well, let's look at your marketing. Let's look at your digital marketing. Let's look at your digital presence. So things like that when you're doing due diligence are extremely important. So yes, I mean, digital or technological connections are very important these days, because that's how everyone's getting their information. That's how everyone is working. Look at Zoom. Look at like just how we're even connecting right now. 5 years ago, if you said, let's jump on a Zoom, it's like it was an odd thing to say. I don't even think people would be like, let's get on a conference call. That's what we used to say. Now it's like, let's get on a Zoom. We don't even think about it because of COVID. And we're looking at each other. We're talking to each other as if we were in the same room. So it's like the experiences now are just so connected through technology, whether it's work or personal, that you can't.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like I'm talking to you guys from a cruise ship. Just think about it. I mean, you're on a cruise ship, and I can talk to you guys like Irina said. We're in the same room.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the day where you can be on a cruise ship on Zoom, and I can actually go to the casino and bar with you after a while. I'm sure that's going to happen, but one day that will happen.
Yes.
The only thing that sucks is my dating app doesn't work on the ship. I
can't. You can't zero in your surroundings there.
I can't zero in on it.
It's crazy. I love all these subjects that we talk about, and it's just amazing to me every time we talk to a guest. And Irina, I know you have the educational background. I didn't know you were actually an electrical engineer at first, but that just goes to show like you really do have an understanding of a lot of this stuff that we're constantly always talking about, and that's changing our lives. So I mean, you have the pedigree for all the stuff that you're doing and executing, and kudos to you.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. Okay, because we have kids now, all right, and my daughter's 10, going on 18, and she's and it's funny how I never thought I'd be the Greek parent where I'd be sitting there going, "Tapaso skolio, you're going to do that." Now my daughter, either at first she said she wanted to be a veterinarian. Or maybe, and now she wants to stand up comic like Daddy. She wants to get into modeling and stuff. Granted, we're there. How much of an environment is it? Because for us, I think a lot of us had similar backgrounds. Our parents were immigrants coming over, so we aspired to do different things. Because not that what they did was bad. It's just it was like you said earlier. It's difficult to be all day, all night at a place you don't see your family. Mm-hmm. But I think. With technology now, like I look at my daughter, these kids get together with iPads. They have play dates, but they're not talking to each other. Is this going to be a problem in the future? I said as a joke, my daughter's 10. Her friend, there's 2 girls over. I said, hey, why don't we do something? Why don't we put the iPads down and we'll go in the backyard and kick a ball around? And they looked at me like I had 3 heads. Okay. Like, you want to do what? Like they were like, you want to go outside and run around? Yeah. What, you guys want to do that? So it's interesting that I find that. Do you find now that as much as it's great to be connected and be assertive with what we're doing, how important is it for us now though as parents? How important is it for us to also tell our kids, hey, look, let's go get some fresh air. Let's go outside. Let's go for a walk. Yeah. How do you guys feel about that?
So my son is 9, going on 15. So I feel you. The thing with him though is that he is a very active 9-year-old. So good. All he wants to do is play outside, or play sports. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. Not necessarily go outside, play sports. Because when we're home, it's like, okay, what's the newest YouTuber going to post? Like especially even with sports, like he's big into like watching football and basketball and all that. He gets all his news from these like YouTubers who are posting all these stuff. I mean, I don't even know how to, like, I don't like YouTube. I don't even know, like, I watch certain things when it's like a link that gets sent to me to watch on YouTube, but I've never just sat and watched YouTube. I don't even know how to do that because I wouldn't even know what to search. I'm like, unless I'm looking for something specific, I don't know how you watch YouTube. And he doesn't even watch TV shows anymore because of like small clips. Like, I just want to see a small clip of like this guy talking about this player that's going to go to this team or that team or whatever. And it's small clips. Like the TV shows are like a thing of the past. I remember like, we used to do like Friday nights was, what was it? TGIF. Like I had a lineup, man, of like TV shows that I used to watch.
They will never know or understand that excitement. I mean, that's gone. That's gone. That's
gone. And now it's just like, again, quick tidbits through YouTube and all that. And I think we just have to accept that that's kind of it, because I used to sit in front of the TV maybe for like 4 hours on a Friday night.
We all did.
And now him being on an iPad for like 2 hours, like, so basically we have to, I think, put things in perspective, right? Yeah. So if I sat in front of the TV on a Saturday morning for 3 hours watching cartoons, it's similar to him being on his iPad.
Right. That's a good, that's a good analytical thinking that you do for this? Because I know a lot of people that they can't connect what they used to do with what our kids are doing, and all they do is say, "Oh, these kids, they're on their iPhone."
Oh, the kids.
But you know what? 100 years ago, they were all reading newspapers on their commute. Then everybody's like watching TV by the radio, then by the TV.
Well, even by the TV, I remember people used to say, like, when I was growing up, like, "Oh, more TV, you're watching TV again."
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's the same thing. I think every generation has their thing that they're just not used to. And then when it actually is gone and it's a new thing, they're just not used to it.
I know. I hate when you're talking to people and they're on their iPhones all the time. It's like,
well, you know what, Angela, you brought up a good point that just gave me a thought to ask Irina. So you said your daughter, she's doing this, she's doing that. I now have a daughter. Foti has 2 daughters. What is the future of like our little Greek American girls? Like, is there something, Irina, that is out there for them? Is something that could empower them?
We should definitely talk about.
Did we?
Hold on, I think we dropped her.
I think she froze up, guys.
Yeah,
did we answer the question? Yeah,
definitely. But and we'll discuss this when she comes back on, that the fact that we didn't mention, but we're going to talk about it, is that she's the president also of the Hellenic Professional Women's Organization.
Yeah.
What the hell do you think my transition just was?
I think that's what Ari's going to do now.
I know you are, but she's not here. But I don't know.
I took that whole entire speech to set up the Hellenic.
I know.
Women's
you got 40 yelling at us, man. Yeah, Alexis. Well, you were so calm and collected. Now I was Fornes.
Oh my God. That was so funny. I was like, I put so much effort into that transition. That Poti's like, we should.
We're gonna edit it. We can take it back and start it over.
Wait, I'm admitting her, but it's taken a while for her to get in.
It could, maybe she has a problem with her. We were just talking about the internet, and
it's Angela's cruise internet screwing everything up.
Oh,
I put the Monty on the internet. That's what happened.
Irina, hold on. Before, what did you last hear? Because I was doing a transitional question into the Hellenic, the women's.
Oh, I didn't hear that at all.
Okay, good.
You're mentioning about how
let me redo it.
Yeah, just restart it. Start from restart the question.
What's the correct name?
Hellenic Professional Women.
Okay. All right. So this is what I was asking. So Angelo brought up a good point, because he was talking about his daughter and, all the stuff that she's into. And I now have a daughter, and Foti has 2 daughters. And, we're always discussing on the show, the future of Hellenism and the future of what our kids are going to do. And, we all have daughters. And, we know in your bio that you're involved in a great organization. Is that something you could talk about with us?
I would love to talk about that, because I'm really passionate about what we're doing. So I'm president of the Hellenic Professional Women Group. We originally started in New York, and it was really more a New York-based organization until about a year and a half ago. We then decided to expand into other parts of the country that have dense Greek populations that are kind of looking to connect with each other. I think post-COVID, we realized that people wanted to get back together. People wanted to be with other people that they had common interests in, whether it be their culture, whether it be professionally, whatever it is. We wanted to be in person. The Zoom era was done. So that was the right time for us to kind of expand this effort into other cities. So what we've done is we've done events in Boston. We're doing one in Philadelphia, then Florida, DC. So we're really kind of expanding and looking to create these networks of where women that, just get together and help each other out. I mean, I think that's really the premise of it, right? Is providing them tools to better themselves in their career, Also providing them resources and opportunities to meet with others who are professional, like-minded women. And at the same time, with that basis of our culture kind of connecting us, there are so many issues as women, and a lot of us as mothers, like me, being one of them, that, you're very concerned about. You're like, how do we help maintain our culture in the next generation? What can we do as mothers, as women, as people who just care about the Greek culture, to make sure that we continue to evolve with our families and keep that, culture alive. And it's difficult. It's not easy. It's, just getting together with other women who are also mothers in many cases, or just women who care about families and the culture and, what we can do to preserve it. I mean, that's like really important for us to find ways to support each other in this effort, because we don't live in communities anymore like in Astoria, right? Or like Greektown in Chicago, or like a Rosendale in Boston. There you go. I shout out was especially for you. Where, you have like a huge Greek population that lives in an area. All your friends are Greek. All the people you go to school with are Greek. It makes it really easy to continue the culture, because everybody you're going to their homes, are all Greek. My son, goes to a school where there's no one in his class or around his grade level that I know that are Greek. Like, really the only Greek people we know are through Sunday school, right? So it becomes hard, and it's like we have to get creative, because we don't have that automatic, like, just geolocation thing anymore, where it's like, oh, just here, I have it, just hand it to me. So, what can we do for our kids? What can we do to support each other as parents, as, Greek Americans? Because, in so many other cultures, you see that it's strong, like 3-4 generations deep. Like, it's really strong. They're tied to their culture. And, I think we have a pretty amazing culture, and, it's would really be sad to see it kind of dissipate as the generations go on. So through this organization and through the expansion to different cities, we're really hoping to, not only raise awareness of kind of what women have been doing in the professional space, but also kind of find ways to educate and network with each other to help solve a lot of these problems that we're facing in our Greek society.
How do people like reach out or connect, contact this organization?
Sure. Just go to www.hellenicprofessionalwomen.org, or you can also check us out on Instagram, Hellenic Prof Women. We're really active. You can, sign up for any of our, meet and greets and a lot of our seminars and occasional seminars that we're doing. And like I said, they're kind of all over the country at this point. So, we'd love to hear from anyone interested. So if there's even somebody that maybe is listening and is in an area of the country that doesn't have this type of a thing, like, reach out and let's figure out how to get it going there.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Sounds good.
So needed, so necessary. I mean, it's something after our own hearts. We're always involved with Greek. I mean, Angelo spreads Greekness across the world through comedy. Foti and I have always been involved in, just Greek themed things. So
everything counts. What Irina's doing, what you're doing, everything counts. And Irina's right.
Exactly.
She's right.
It's needed.
That with everything going on in your life, that you still maintain that part of your culture and heritage. I admire that. And we were saying, like, with Forti and Ari, we do the podcast, even me as an entertainer. I think all of us, that's what's so nice about Connecting Greeks, is that this is keeping it going. Because if we don't do this, then they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So true.
And that organization is so important. I'm actually, you said you're going to have an event in DC. So I'm telling my wife all about it, because she's been craving and thirsting for something that she could, do, especially with fellow Greeks. And that sounds like a perfect thing for her.
Yeah. It's been really fun. I think we've learned a lot from you today.
Absolutely. We have.
We have.
I also want to say a very quick story that Irina probably won't even remember, but I'm known amongst my circle as like the music, like Rain Man. Like, I know everything about music, dates, artists, everything. The only person that I have in memory that I can recall in my whole life that ever corrected me correctly on a song was Irina.
No way. What did I do?
You don't remember this, do you?
What song?
No, I don't remember this.
We were outside the Hillside House, right? At Tufts, and I was singing 311s, 311, 311, 311, whatever you call them.
Okay.
All mixed up, don't know what to do. A song that goes like that. Does it ring a bell?
Keep going, Ari.
And I was singing the verse, and you were behind me, and you were like, Ari, that's not what they say. And then you told me what they said. And I was like, she doesn't know what she's saying. And then I looked it up, and you were right. And I was like, man. So kudos. Kudos to you.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. And this is not going to be the last time. We're definitely going to have Irina, have you come back. And I'm sure there's plenty of updates that are going to be going on. And I'm sure new endeavors. And I'm sure you'll probably seek out more ideas. But we'd love to have you come back at some point soon.
I would love that.
And if you want to invest in a media show of three Greeks who hate each other but still do shows together, let us know, because we're going to pitch that episode, that show.
I think Irina, we should start the Greek version of Shark Tank.
Yeah, I know. I know. That would be really cool, actually.
Oh, Irina, you got to do that. You got to do that.
Shark Tzatziki Tank.
Well, listen, we on behalf of Connecting Greeks, we want to thank Irina for being with us, for taking time out of her schedule, for sharing her story with us. We're going to have her back, as Foti said. I just want to say thank you, Irina, for your time. And thanks to Foti, as always. And Angelo.
Thank you, Irina.
We miss
Thanks,
you.
guys. Thanks, Irina.
Thanks, Irina.